If you've been patiently waiting to see a little separation around college football, week 3 of the 2023 season may start to bring some answers. As usual, most of the nation's top programs open the season with a few comfortable home games. Pick up 2 wins, build confidence, and get ready for marquee matchups. But the ever dangerous mix of road trips and conference play is starting to arrive this weekend. Within the AP Top 25, there are no ranked clashes. However, 5 programs take on a league opponent, and 4 of them, including Tennessee and LSU, are on the road. Plus, both Washington and Kansas State travel to power conference opponents. It could wind up being a relatively quiet week, but the blueprint for upsets is becoming a more prevalent part of our Saturdays. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher and Michael Bullock. Apologies for the late start. We were waiting to get everybody here, so we're all here. We're all ready to go. So we actually had a game that go down tonight. They're back in the top 25. The number 22 Miami Hurricanes. They took on Bethune-Cookman and the U. No trouble whatsoever. 48-7 beatdown of Bethune-Cookman. You didn't miss anything. Trust us, you didn't. So we'll talk about the U next week. But right now, let's get into the rest of the slate. We have all these games are on Saturday, of course, and we have 4 games in the noon window. And we started off, and we're going to stay in the Sunshine State. As first up, we're going to be talking about the number 3 Florida State Seminoles on the road against the Eagles of Boston College from Chestnut Hill, Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill, of course. And you can find this game over on ABC. And on that call will be Dave Patch, Dusty Dvoracek, and Tom Luganbill. Florida State opening up as a 26.5-point favorite. Following a loss to Northern Illinois, Boston College held off a quality but still FCS opponent in Holy Cross. FSU shouldn't have much trouble rolling over its ACC counterpart. Sorry, Bullock. 41-17, Florida State all over Boston College. So not much more to say here. MF, Florida State in the top 3, and they go on the road against BC at Alumni Stadium, Chestnut Hill.
Yes, and a lot of people have been very high on the Seminoles, especially after their opening day beatdown that they laid on LSU, and they put a lot of people on notice. There's some people out there saying that Florida State is back, and if they're back, if this is that perennial powerhouse team of the early '90s, this could be a special year for Florida State. So I think they're going to continue that hot run. I think they're going to win this game, and there's nothing more to say. So, Anthony, Michael Bullock, is yours.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I think Florida State's back. I mean, they're back to being that perennial team that they once had under the late great Bobby Bowden, and that's trouble for those in the ACC if that is the case. So so I expect Florida State to continue this against Boston College. So Florida State wins. So let's move right along.
And we move on to Big Noon Saturday on Fox. You know, that's one of our favorite things here, as it will feature the number 7 Penn State Nittany Lions, and they will be squaring off against the Fighting Illini of Illinois from the University of Illinois Memorial Stadium in Champaign, Illinois. This game, of course, Big Noon Saturday on Fox. You know who's working that. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, the All-American girl, Jenny Taft. Penn State opening up as a 14.5-point favorite. So, MF, Mr. Big Ten, only fitting we started off with you.
Yeah, and, the way that this season started, it was a little more shocking than we thought. But, at the end of the day, like you said, this is a pretty good matchup here on Saturday. But I kind of feel like now this is the point where, honestly, I feel confident enough here that. Oh, wait, hold. Let me see. Where is it? There it is. So I was gonna say I feel pretty confident in Penn State. They've looked pretty good in the first couple of games. They've dominated. Um, even though it is kind of they've had a couple of cupcake teams at the very beginning, so we can't really go too much on it. But now they're going into the Big Ten schedule. Obviously, big, this should be an easy game, easy win for them. But then next week they got a big fight. They got a fight on their hands when they go back to Happy Valley at home and Iowa is knocking at their door. So no, they got a big test next week. But as for now, Illinois should win this one. I should say Penn State should beat Illinois, and I got nothing more to add. So yeah, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I definitely see Penn State having no problem with Illinois here. So I'm going with Penn State as well. So it's yours, Florio.
Make it unanimous. Heading into the season, this Big Ten matchup looked like a sneaky obstacle for Penn State, but seeing the Illini give up 6.3 yards of play in 2 games lessens the concern of an upset, though. Penn State wins 34-17, so Penn State will defeat Illinois before they get ready for that big game against Iowa. And MF brings that up, and MF, you brought that up, and I got to bring something up here quick. Wait until you hear the smorgasbord of games we're going to have in store for you next week on this show.
It is a lot, and we got some heavyweight fights next week. We got a lot of heavyweight fights next week.
Yeah. Smorgasbord, buffet, whatever you want to call it. We got it for you. Wait till you hear some of these big matchups. There's tons of them. It's going to be a big day, so that's all I'm going to say. So, all right. Moving on, our next high noon game, and just I also like to look up the stadium, so I make sure I get it here. Okay.
It should.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure I have the correct city and the whole 9 yards. Okay. All right. Yep. Next up, it is the number 14 LSU Tigers on the road against the Mississippi State Bulldogs from Vaught-Hemingway Stadium in Starkville, Mississippi. You can find this game on ESPN. And on the call for that one, it will be Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, and Katie George. LSU opening up as a 9.5-point favorite. So, Michael Bullock, start off with you. It is number 14 LSU on the road at Mississippi State in Starkville.
Yeah, I definitely see LSU winning this one. I mean, it could be a little bit of a tough going at the beginning, but in the end, I think they'll pull away and have no problem with this one. So I got the LSU Tigers rolling to another win here. So it's yours, Florio.
Red zone letdowns nearly haunted Mississippi State in an overtime win against Arizona. 4 trips during regulation time inside the 20-yard line produced just 10 points. That is simply not good enough, opposite a powerful LSU offense. LSU wins, pulls away with a late score, 38-24, LSU over Mississippi State. MF?
I gotta go with LSU as well. I kind of feel like they're, after that letdown in week 1, where they got absolutely shellacked, they came right back, dominated over Grambling State, and I think they're gonna keep that momentum going. Yes, I know Mississippi State is 2-0, and the first 2 games, they just barely beat Arizona in overtime for 1 win. The other win that they got was against southeastern Louisiana, and that was a dominating performance. But they're going into a murderer's row of games coming up, and that's Mississippi State I'm talking about. You got LSU, Then you go on the road to South Carolina. Then you go back home, and Alabama's waiting for you. Those are not easy games to play. And like I said, this is about to become a very rough stretch for Mississippi State. So I just don't see them hanging with LSU. I think LSU is angry. I think they're fired up. I think they're motivated. I think they're going to win this game, and they're going to win this game pretty comfortably. So give me LSU to win. Anthony, back to you for the final high noon game.
Yes, sir. And it will feature the number 15 Kansas State Wildcats on the road against the Missouri Tigers at Farott Field at Memorial Stadium in Columbia, Missouri. You can find this game over on the SEC Network with Taylor Zarzar, Matt Stinchcomb, and Alyssa Lang. Kansas State opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. The former Big 12 adversaries met in 2022 after an 11-year hiatus, and Kansas State promptly hammered Missouri 40-12. While the margin figures to be closer this time, the result won't change. Kansas State can lean on a defense that has racked up 20 tackles for loss to pick up a road win. Kansas State wins this game. My final score, 27-17. Kansas State over Missouri. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with you on this one too. I feel like it's going to be Kansas State. I just don't sense or I don't feel any threat here. I even though I think Missouri's going to make a game out of it, I just don't think Kansas State is going to lose. I just don't. This is not one of the games that I would yell upset alert, unfortunately. You could if you wanted to, and I wouldn't be mad at it, but I just don't see it. So nothing more to say. I got Kansas State winning, and Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I definitely got Kansas State winning this as well. I mean, it's going to be close, but I just think in the end, I just think Kansas State is just too much here. So Kansas State wins. Let's move on, Florio.
All right, we move on to a 2 o'clock kickoff, and it will feature the number 12 Utah Utes back home at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City, Utah, hosting the Wildcats of Weber State. You can find this game over on the Pac-12 Network with Roxy Bernstein and Lincoln Kennedy. I don't see a spread for this one. MF, I'm guessing there is no spread because it's got to be a laugher.
Yep, I do not have a spread either.
Yeah, I didn't think so. All right, MF, Utah back at home, Rice-Eccles Stadium, Weber State coming in. Yeah, this will be a laugher.
It is going to be a laugher. Look, Utah did not look good in their last game. Yes, they did win, and they handled they handled their business. They did beat Baylor, and that was a big win.
They almost got beat, man. They upset alert.
It was upset alert, no doubt about it. They were down 13-6. It wasn't until a fourth quarter explosion that pretty much gave them the victory. They scored 14 points in the fourth quarter that got them over the hump and got them the win. But if you're Utah, you kind of feel like you got away with one, and that's something that you can't really do. Even though this is an easy game for them, and they'll win this one pretty handily, but you got UCLA right behind us. Coming to Rice-Eccles next week.
Smorgasbord.
Huh?
Smorgasbord strikes again.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're Utah, I know you're gonna handle your business. You're gonna probably want to dominate early, rest your starters. If I were you, do it. Because you're going to need all the firepower, all the ammunition, and everything when UCLA come into town. Because that could turn out to be a hell of a game. So, nothing more to say. Utah should win this, and Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm going with Utah as well. I mean, this won't be even close. So it's yours, Florio.
And before I give you my thoughts on it, we have a final from Thursday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles outlasting the Minnesota Vikings 34-28. It was the season premiere of Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video. It looked like it was going to be a dud, but Minnesota, boy howdy, they nearly came back. But Philly hangs on. They get the win, 34-28. We will talk more about that game tomorrow night as part of our Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. But for right now, let's get back into this. One of the better FCS teams in the country, Weber State, is no cupcake opponent. Utah is still waiting for their quarterback, Cam Rising, to be cleared from his knee injury. But dynamic dual-threat backup Nate Johnson can handle leading the Utes if nothing changes. Utah wins 35-14, so not much more to say on that. So we move on to our next game, and yes, this is the game I'm waiting for here. No doubt about this. We got a 2:30 kickoff, and it features my team, the number 9, back in the single digits. Oh, I love seeing them with a single digit next to them. The number 9, Notre Dame Fighting Irish, back at home at Notre Dame Stadium in South Bend, hosting the Chippewas of Central Michigan. And this game can be seen exclusively on Peacock. Not on NBC, exclusively on Peacock. And good news, Irish fans, our play-by-play voice, Jack Collinsworth, he is back from his illness. So Jack Collinsworth reunited with his partners, Jason Garrett and Zora Stevenson. And Notre Dame opening up as a 34.5-point favorite. Michael Bullock, started with you. Should be an easy tune-up for Notre Dame before they have the game of the week next week against Ohio State in prime time under the lights at Notre Dame Stadium.
Oh yeah, this is a really good tune-up for Notre Dame before they have their big showdown with the Ohio State Buckeyes at Notre Dame Stadium next Saturday night on NBC, and without a doubt, that's the game of the week right there, folks. So Notre Dame should win pretty easily, setting up their big showdown with Ohio State. So, with that being said, Florio, it's yours. I mean, this is a good test. I mean, this is a good tune-up for them because they got the Ohio State Buckeyes next week.
Yeah, the main event of what we're going to call Smorgasbord Saturday next week. Week 3 this week brings one final tune-up contest for Notre Dame, which welcomes Ohio State to South Bend next Saturday. Central Michigan needed a last-second field goal to clip New Hampshire last week. Yeah, okay. Easy win for Notre Dame here, 45-10. Notre Dame gets the aggressions out on Central Michigan, continues their red-hot start. I mean, after impressive wins over the Navy and Ireland, an equally impressive win in the home opener against Tennessee State, and had a longer than expected day at NC State last week because of that nasty lightning and rain and all that stuff. MF was probably loving it because we don't know how much MF loves the rain and the thunder and the lightning, but Notre Dame overcame all that.
I love the rain. I'm not a big fan of the lightning and the thunder. I kind of got a little nervous for you guys. So trust me, I felt a little nervy for NC State and Notre Dame that they got caught in that. I love the rain, I love the mess, I love the downpour, but when lightning and thunder get thrown into the mix, that's an ixnay. It's too extreme for me.
Yep, MF would say nope, no thank you. So
nope.
Even though I love the rain and the mud, so
I love rain.
Whereas I love the cold and the snow, but that's another story. But we'll get to that soon enough. But for right now, Notre Dame wins 45-10. MF, like I said, obviously for Notre Dame, I mean, what can you say about the Irish, man? What a start. I mean, so far, outscoring their 3 opponents by a combined score so far, if I do the math correctly, 143-30 over the first 3 weeks.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, NC State gave you guys some fits early in the game. It wasn't until the second half was when Notre Dame kind of dropped the hammer on them. There was a point in the game where even I was like, "Ooh, this is a little too close for comfort." If you're Notre Dame, I'd be a little leery about it. But I think that thunderstorm and everything else kind of calmed Notre Dame down, and it kind of, basically the coaching staff was able to get to the boys because it looked like they were coming out a little tight at the very beginning of the game. They did not look like themselves. I think that lightning delay actually helped Notre Dame because it calmed them down. Once they got the second half going, that's when everything started to click for the Fighting Irish. So yeah, they'll have another easy victory, another dominating performance, and then that's gonna lead us to that, like you said, that heavyweight championship fight next week against Ohio State. Something's gonna have to give at that fight, but we'll get into Ohio State because they got a game that we need to talk about in a little bit themselves. So Anthony, it's yours.
Indeed, they do. Even though they got a cupcake of their own. So, but we'll get into that soon enough. All right. So with that, we move on. All right, gentlemen, strap yourselves in. We got 7 3:30 games to get into. So let's start it off with the number one team in all the land. Your back-to-back reigning, defending, undisputed college football playoff national champion, Maiden Georgia Bulldogs, at home once again at Sanford Stadium in Athens. Those infamous hedges, of course. Opening up the SEC, the final season. This is the farewell season for the SEC on CBS before the SEC moves to ESPN next year, and the Big Ten goes to CBS. We got the number one team in all the land, the Maiden Georgia Bulldogs, hosting the Gamecocks of South Carolina. The season premiere of the farewell season of the SEC on CBS. You already know who's working this. As always, Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, Jenny Dell, they'll be there. And Georgia opening up as a 27.5-point favorite for the back-to-back champs. The short version, Georgia wins. However, this is a measuring stick type of game for South Carolina. The offense had a rough showing in the loss to North Carolina, but rebounded nicely in a rout of lower division Furman. Will the Gamecocks, who also totaled just 306 yards and 7 points against Georgia last season, be able to sustain more drives? We'll see. But for right now, I think Georgia will win comfortably once again. 38-17, Georgia over South Carolina. So MF, Georgia hosting South Carolina, the season premiere of the farewell season of the SEC on CBS.
When the Georgia Bulldogs outscore you 93-10 in the first two games of the season, and then you just talked about that other stat, Florio, this almost is like a perfect storm for a perfect blowout. Georgia is just playing on another level right now. Now, SEC play is the most brutal division or the most brutal conference in all of college football that you got to go through just to get to the max. But we've already seen Georgia's navigated through these waters not once, but twice, and has come out of it with the national championship. So they start their run 1-0 in the SEC. That I do believe that they'll win this one and win this pretty comfortably. So that's my prediction. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, without a doubt, I got the Georgia Bulldogs winning this one and keeping their number one status here. So Georgia wins, and let's move on.
All right, and we move on next to our next 3:30 game, and it's not often we see double digits. It's not often we see double digits next to this team, but we got them nonetheless. The now number 10 Alabama Crimson Tide. Yeah, that's right. I said it. Number 10. And the Alabama Crimson Tide will be going on the road to take on the South Florida Bulls, Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida. You can find this game over on ABC with Bob Wischusen, Robert Griffin III, and Chris Budden. Alabama opening up as a 32.5-point favorite. MF, it's only fitting we start this game off with you because Alabama, what happened? You lost at home to Texas? What happened?
The Horns got them. You know what? They played the perfect game. They absolutely played the perfect game. Alabama looked out of sync. They looked good hard early, but the thing was Texas just every time Bama scored, Texas just had an answer. And every time, and they burned that secondary. That one play where Quinn Akers bombs down to the end zone. As a matter of fact, I was watching the telecast with Pat McAfee. He had Matthew McConaughey in that spot, and that touchdown dropped right near their laps, right in that bucket. That was a backbreaker for Bama, and just the whole time they just could not answer at all. And boy, did social media have a field day bashing Alabama. One of our former colleagues went open fire at Alabama, basically saying that the dynasty is over, that they're a shell of their former selves, and was bashing Alabama left and right. You know, saying that they're done, that the dynasty is over. Pump the brakes, my friend, because everybody knows that you don't piss off Alabama and get away with it. Yes, Alabama can take a loss here and there. All that just does is that gets the attention of Nick Saban. And let me tell you, my friend, I'm pretty sure Saban probably heard all this hugabaloo and heard all this garbage from the naysayers, from the Bama haters, and he probably put that as a bulletin board montage this week for his boys to say, you hear what these people are saying? You see what's happening right now? They believe we're dead. They believe we're done. They believe that we got no chance. Now is the time for the next victim. This is where now they turn it around, and I feel sorry for you for UCF because for let me see, hold on. For is it no? Yeah, for USF, for the University of South Florida, because boys, you are at the wrong place at the wrong time, because when it's one thing when you get Alabama, it's even worse when you get Alabama after a loss. That's even like, it's one thing if it's Alabama, because it's that next victim motto. But Bama after a loss, you're dead on arrival. You're DOA. Bama is going to roll on South Florida, and it's not even gonna be it's gonna be a massacre. That's all I'm saying. Get Nick Saban's attention after a loss, and you do that, you're asking for trouble, asking to get your butt kicked. Bama wins. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, Alabama's going to win this one in a laugher. They have. You don't think for 1 minute that this Alabama, especially Nick Saban, is pissed off after a loss like that, and hearing all the haters, all the naysayers, especially our former colleague who said, "Oh, the dynasty is dead. Alabama is done for." Pump the brakes, because when you poke the bear like Alabama, they are going to come out guns blazing, and they are going to show no mercy to whoever their opponent is next. And let's just say their opponent's not going to have a fun day. So, And there is another saying I have another saying for all the Alabama haters out there, especially to our former colleague. Always keep your words soft and sweet because you might have to eat those words later on because that could be a rallying cry for Alabama here. So it may have been best to leave it alone instead of poking at the bear because you just did. And if this is a turning point for them, you're going to probably wish you didn't poke that damn bear. So Alabama wins in a rout. It's yours, Florio.
Alabama's bounce back opportunity also includes a quarterback conundrum. Should the Crimson Tide stick with Jalen Milroe or switch to Tyler Buckner? From my view, Milroe is still the best option. His mobility is particularly valuable behind the shaky offensive line, even as Milroe may rely on his legs too often. Alabama will win easily, but the QB conversation will continue to hold the spotlight. Bama rolls 48-10. Bama rolls over South Florida. Next 3:30 matchup, and it features the number 16 Oregon State Beavers back at home at Research Stadium in Corvallis, Oregon, hosting the Aztecs of San Diego State. You can find this game over on FS1. And on the call for that game will be Alex Faust and Petros Papadakis. And Oregon State opening up as a 24.5-point favorite. Michael Bullock, we started with you. Oregon State hosting San Diego State.
Yeah, Oregon State, like you said, they're off to a good start here. So we'll see where this goes with them. But either way, I do have Oregon State winning this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Before the season, this looked like a reasonable test for Oregon State. But the blowout loss at home to UCLA has reshaped San Diego State's perception, and not in a positive way. Oregon State wins this one going away 35-14. Oregon State over San Diego State. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm in a total agreement. I feel Oregon State is going to win this game as well because of the fact that, they haven't really had any major tests up to this point. And San Diego State did actually lose pretty badly to UCLA a week ago, and it wasn't even close. They got stomped 35-10. So Oregon State should actually have no problem with this game. And as a matter of fact, Oregon State's got a pretty hefty game next week. If everything holds the way it does, they're going to run into Washington State, and that could end up being quite a fight on their hands. As a matter of fact, they got two monster games coming up in back-to-back weeks. They got to go to Washington State, then they got to turn around. They go back home, and then Utah's waiting for them. So we're gonna find out about the Oregon State Beavers if they're for real or not. These next couple of weeks after this game where they get the win, and then after that they got two big games that could make or break their season. So we'll see. But I got Oregon State winning. So Anthony, it's yours.
All right, we move on to our next matchup featuring the number 19 Oklahoma Sooners on the road against the Golden Hurricane of Tulsa from Skelly Field at H.A. Chapman Stadium in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Another 3:30 kickoff. You can find this game over on ESPN2 with Dave Fleming, Brock Osweiler, and Kayla Burton. And Oklahoma opening up as a 28.5-point favorite. All right. I got a Tony fun fact for you guys. Did you know Tulsa actually defeated Oklahoma in 1996? Neat little Tony fun fact for you. Anyway, OU should be able to give 5-star backup quarterback Jackson Arnold more snaps and another blowout win. Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, 52-14, all over Tulsa. MF, Boomer Sooner for DD, Kevin Woodson, and JR?
Yeah, I believe so. It will be a Boomer Sooner. I just don't see anything that would make me feel a little nervous or anything like that. I think that right now, they'll have no problem, and yeah, this should be yet another easy victory for them. So yeah, Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma wins, and Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it unanimous. It's Boomer Sooner all day. I mean, yeah, I just don't see anything where I think that, that they're gonna hang around with Oklahoma. So Oklahoma wins in a round. Boomer Sooner, indeed. It's yours, Florio.
All right, this next matchup is an MF special. It's a Big Ten ACC matchup, as it will feature the the number 20 North Carolina Tar Heels at home at Keenan Memorial Stadium in Chapel Hill, hosting the Minnesota Golden Gophers. And you can find this game over on ESPN with Beth Mowens, Kirk Morrison, and Stormy Bonantoni. North Carolina opening up as a 7.5 point favorite. So MF, I know this is a bit of a hard times week, but this is one of the few standout games of this week 3.
Yeah, this is one of the few standouts, and for Minnesota, this is a big test for them. They had an early win over Nebraska, then an easy win over Eastern Michigan. Now they got North Carolina, and North Carolina, as many of you guys know, has been one of the good pillars of the ACC. But boy, they almost got by Appalachian State. They almost got caught and almost got upsetted. They were fortunate. They got
What a
away.
game.
They got away. It was a double overtime, but North Carolina was able to finally slay that dragon. App State, they had an upset on their mind, and they almost got it, man. That would have been horrible for North Carolina, man. We almost like, what? We almost like, what did you do? Uh, or what? One of my guys on TikTok that I listen to, North Carolina. What the hell happened? Well, we almost had that, but you got pushed to the limit by App State, and they almost got you. But they fortunately North Carolina was able to finally, you know, they got them out of there. They were able to get the victory. Was able to put the hammer down. But man, Drake May, you got to come better than what you did last week. Yes, Hampton had over 234 yards and 3 touchdowns in the game, but Drake, you gotta be better than what you were last week. I mean, that was a pedestrian 200 yards passing. You were 21 of 30, 208, no touchdowns and no INTs. I'll tell you right now, you got to do a lot better than that if you want to beat Minnesota, because Minnesota has been riding pretty good lately. So I think North Carolina wins it, but I would not be surprised if Minnesota pulls the upset and knocks out North Carolina. North Carolina was very shaky last week. You know what? I'll even call upset alert. I'll pull the trigger. This is an upset alert. I'm putting it on North Carolina. You got to come right. You better play good, because Minnesota, they could pull the upset. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I could definitely see it being an upset alert here. I mean, yeah, after the performance from North Carolina last week, and yeah, this is where Minnesota could take advantage of it, but we'll see what happens. So, but I still got North Carolina winning, but if Minnesota somehow pulls off the upset, I would not be surprised. So it is yours, Florio.
Through 2 games, it appears Minnesota will be laboring to put up points regularly in 2023. However, the Golden Gophers have also surrendered just 16 points to Nebraska and Eastern Michigan. That's not incredible competition, but it's enough to suggest that Drake May-led North Carolina won't be able to run away. North Carolina wins. They'll pull away late and get it done. 27-17, North Carolina over Minnesota. So We go from North Carolina to Duke next, gentlemen, as we have another Big Ten ACC matchup. Oh, MF, we got a Big Ten ACC challenge in football. We all know how much you love it in the hoops. I mean, you're all over that every year. We all know that. And you do an awesome job as always. Number 21, Duke Blue Devils. Back at home at Brooks Field at Wallace Wade Stadium in Durham, North Carolina, hosting the Wildcats of Northwestern. And you can find this game over on the ACC network. And calling that game will be Chris Cotter, Mark Herzlich, and Cherie Burris. And the Dukies opening up as 18.5-point favorites. So I believe Michael Bullock starts this one off. So Bullock, the Dukies hosting Northwestern.
Yeah, I mean the Dukies. I mean, what could you say? I mean, in the top 25, and yeah, I mean, they have a chance to continue with this good start that they are out on. So I got the Dukies winning this one. So it's yours, Florio.
Indeed. Well, okay. In the battle of academia, Duke is a heavy favorite. Northwestern played much better than anticipated in a win over UTEP, but an offense that looks pretty limited may struggle on the road. I got the Dukies continuing this magical start, 34-14, Duke over Northwestern. MF, Duke ain't just a basketball school anymore. They're saying, hey, we're a football school now too.
And the thing is that for the last few years, this has been the norm. I know a lot of people have been flying. The thing is, Duke's been flying under the radar, and nobody's really been giving them a lot of credit, a lot of love, a lot of whatever you want to call it. And Duke just continues to do what they need to do. They come in and they just handle their business. And that's all that you really need to do. Just handle your business, do what you got to do, play with the strategy and the whole 9 yards, and you just continue to play and win and do what you need to do, and that's how you do it. So, major props to them. I do believe they'll get the job done again, and I do believe Duke will win yet another game. So, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and we have one last 3:30 game to get into, and well, back in the top 25, we got the number 25 Iowa Hawkeyes back at home at Kinnick Stadium in Iowa City, Iowa. They will be hosting the Broncos of Western Michigan, and you can find this game over on the Big Ten Network. And on the call for that game will be Lisa Byington, Anthony Harron, and Shane Sparks. And Iowa opening up as a 28.5-point favorite. This is the weekend. Western Michigan likely won't be able to score much against the terrific Iowa defense. And Western Michigan has surrendered 9.1 yards per pass attempt so far this season. Iowa wins 31-7. MF, obviously, theme of the show, tune-up here. It's a tune-up for Iowa before going up against Penn State as part of our Smorgasbord Saturday next week.
Yeah, Iowa's gonna win it. I really don't have anything much more to say. So yeah, Iowa wins, and Bullock is yours.
Yeah, I got Iowa winning this one as well. Like you said, this is another good tune-up before their matchup against Penn State. So Iowa wins. Let's move on.
All right, and we have a 4:00 game to get into, and it's only one, and it features the number six Ohio State Buckeyes back at home at Memorial Stadium or Ohio Stadium in Columbus, the Horseshoe, and they're going to be welcoming the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky. 4:00. You can find this game over on Fox. And on the call for that game will be Jason Benetti, Brock Heward, and Allison Williams. Ohio State opening up as a 29.5-point favorite. MF, here we go. Yet another tune-up game. Ohio State another tune-up before their big showdown at Notre Dame, the main event of Smorgasbord Saturday next week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I got to talk about. I'll just say it. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I think it's similar, like you said. I think it's just gonna be similar to everything going on. I just feel like Ohio State's just gonna handle their business, and they'll win this game, and they're gonna be looking forward to that big showdown against Notre Dame next week. So I got Ohio State winning, and Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I got Ohio State winning this one as well. Like you said, this is another tune up for them before their big showdown with Notre Dame next week. So Ohio State takes care of business. So it's yours, Florio.
The competition is officially over. Kyle McCord has been named Ohio State's starting quarterback. Western Kentucky could have the best secondary in Conference USA, so the Hilltoppers, who also get All-American receiver Malachi Corley back from injury, should not be flatly dismissed. Nevertheless, there's no question where this one is headed. Ohio State wins. They'll roll easily. 45-14. Ohio State all over Western Kentucky. All right, we have, wow, how about this, guys? Not one, not two, but 3 5 o'clock kickoffs, if you can imagine that. And we're going to start it off with the number 8 Washington Huskies on the road against the Michigan State Spartans. As I just want to make sure I have the correct stadium name here. All right. Yep, it is. Spartans from Spartan Stadium, East Lansing, Michigan. The number 8 Washington Huskies at the Michigan State Spartans, Spartan Stadium, East Lansing, Michigan. And here's another game, gentlemen, that will be streaming exclusively on Peacock. And that's where you can find that game. And on the call for that game will be Brendan Burke, Chris Sims, and Caroline Pineda. And Washington, UW, opening up as a 17.5-point favorite. So, Michael Bullock, started with you here. Washington, number 8. But what a mess down there in Michigan State after their coach, Mel Tucker, got in some big, big trouble.
Yeah, you want to talk about some hard times for Michigan State. It doesn't get any more hard times than this after what their coach did. And now you got to deal with Washington here. Man, that's this is a recipe for a blowout here. So Washington wins. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. Michigan State would have been an underdog anyway, and the team is now without suspended head coach Mel Tucker amid an investigation into sexual harassment. Washington's high-powered passing game will encounter more resistance, but Michigan State won't be able to match the scoring pace. Washington wins. My final score, 38-21. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's also Washington. I just don't see them hanging around. So I think Washington's gonna win. It's gonna be it's gonna turn out to be an interesting game, but I just feel like they're gonna win it. So I got nothing more to add. And Anthony, back to you.
All righty. Next up, we have the now. Hey, here's another team that's back in the polls. The number 23 Washington State Cougars, back at home at Martin Stadium in Pullman, Washington. And they're going to be welcoming the Bears of Northern Colorado. You can find this game over on the Pac-12 network with J.B. Long and Max Brown. No spread. I know MF will probably confirm the same thing. Obviously, Laffer status. So with that, let me dive into this one. Start it off. Perhaps the post-Wisconsin hangover leads to a slow start, but Wazoo will be a runaway winner. Northern Colorado has lost to Abilene Christian 31-11 and Incarnate Word 42-7 this season. They're going to lose this game 56-7. Wazoo all over Northern Colorado. MF.
Yeah, I agree. There's really not much for me to add on that one. You kind of hit the nail on the head here. So, yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Um, there's really not much for me to say. So, Michael Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I got Washington State winning this one in a lapper as well. So there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on.
And our third and final 5 o'clock game. Uh, I forgot to, I made a small gaffe on the announcers. It is the Pac-12 network, but for the Northern Colorado Washington State game, it'll be Matt Chazano and Michael Bumpus on the call for that one. All right, moving on. The number 24, and here's another team back in the top 25. The now number 24 UCLA Bruins. You know what that means? MF's favorite West Coast stadium, the one that he holds near and dear to his heart for the forever and ever. Amen. The Rose Bowl, MF. Mm-hmm. Your favorite, the Rose Bowl, Pasadena. And UCLA will be welcoming the Eagles of North Carolina Central. Also on the Pac-12 network. Now this is where you'll find JB Long and Max Brown for the call. No spread. So
Oh, Bullock, are you with me?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know what happened with Florio.
Sorry, his connection must have dropped. This is what happened to me during cerebral during the show
So
on
we got him
Wednesday.
back.
I'm
All
here.
right, there you go.
Yep, connection dropped
Yeah,
for a moment.
I was gonna say it
Yeah,
happened.
that's
That
what we
happened to me
figured.
a couple of times the last night. My connection dropped.
Yep. So all right. Before I was so rudely interrupted there, where did we leave off before my rude
We
interruption?
were on you were on UCLA and North Carolina Central.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I think I was setting the table there.
Yeah,
So
you were saying I think you were going with the commentators, who was the commentators of the game.
oh, okay. All right, I'll set it back up again. The number, let me see, number 24 UCLA Bruins at home at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, hosting the Eagles of North Carolina Central, Pac-12 Network. JB Long and Max Brown on the call. No spread. So I think I led off on the last one, I believe. So I believe
Yeah,
MF starts this one off. It's only fitting because MF, it's your favorite, the Rose Bowl, UCLA,
yeah,
hosting North Carolina Central. Theme of the show, tune up, because Smorgasbord Saturday they got Utah.
yep. And again, it's going to be an easy victory for UCLA. They've played really good at the very beginning. They've looked very strong. There's been nothing bad to say about this team. So yeah, I agree. UCLA is going to win. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, I got UCLA winning this one as well in the Rose Bowl. I mean, so yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's move to you, Florio.
One of week two sneak
Just give them a second. I know the connection's acting up again. Let's see. Just give them a minute.
Yeah, let's give them a minute.
So I know. And just gonna wait. See what's going on. Should be getting back any moment. Sorry, guys. Live, whenever it's live TV or live internet stuff, I don't know. Lately, we've been having issues like this, so it's not. Hopefully, you guys are not dealing with the same issues that we normally do. But let's see. Seems a little longer than usual. I know first time he came right back
Yeah,
on.
yeah, it must be really bad.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. I'm trying to figure out what to do here because we do have some other games left. The only problem is I don't really have the traditional setup like Florio would unless I just start going through it. But so I'm hopefully Anthony does indeed come back. We did have at least I counted at least 4 or 5 games left. Um,
Yeah.
so all right, so we both agreed that UCLA was going to win the game. So
Mm-hmm.
that was where we were going to go there. The next game that we would have was a 7 o'clock kickoff. Oh, there we go. We
Oh,
got
we
it.
got Florio back. Yep.
All right.
Darn that
Sorry.
connection.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically all you just have to do is just give your analysis. We were about to jump into Florida, Tennessee, but we're holding off because obviously you came back just in the nick of time.
All right. We have 6 games left after this. And all right. So you guys gave your thoughts on NC Central and UCLA. So,
Yeah, we both said UCLA was going to win.
Okay.
I know you were going through your analysis before the connection dropped.
Okay. One of week 2 sneaky impressive wins belong to UCLA, which cruised past San Diego State 35-10 on the road and outgained San Diego State by a staggering 291 yards. UCLA will hit 3-0 with a win over North Carolina Central. Solid FCS team that is simply outclassed here. 48-14, UCLA wins. Prime time, guys. 7 o'clock kickoff. Oh, here we go. You could, in a sense, consider this the default game of the week for week number 3, as it features this big SEC matchup, as it will feature the number 11 Tennessee Volunteers on the road against the Florida Gators. Ben Hill, Griffin Stadium, Gainesville, Florida. ESPN, and we got the A team, boys. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, Holly Rowe, and Tennessee opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. I believe Michael Bullock starts this one off. So Michael Bullock, our de facto game of the week, number 11 Tennessee at Florida. We know the history.
Yeah, we know the history with these two, and yeah, this is, like you said, our de facto game of the week here. I mean, I think Florida will definitely make it a really close one and challenge Tennessee, but I just think in the end Tennessee is too much. So I got the Volunteers winning this one. It's yours, Florio.
Okay. Tennessee has lacked the aerial explosiveness that propelled the offense in 2022. Meanwhile, Florida inspired little confidence during its opening loss to Utah. In short, I'm not certain of anything here. Tennessee has more firepower, and that's probably the difference. The 6.5-point spread, a fair bit lower than I anticipated, but nonetheless, I got Tennessee winning. I think they'll pull away late. 34-20, Tennessee over Florida. So Bullock is obviously headed out for the night. So MF and I will take it the rest of the way. So MF, I got Tennessee winning 34-20. De facto game of the week. Your thoughts?
I agree with Tennessee winning the game as well. I feel like they haven't even hit their stride yet. I kind of feel like they could eventually, but already 2 games in and they've looked pretty good. So I'm very high on Tennessee. I think a lot of people know that, especially after what they did last season. So I do believe Tennessee will get the job done. I think they win this one. And Anthony, let's move on to, I believe it's my team next on the docket.
Oh yeah, 5 games left, and the next 2 are 7:30 kickoffs. 7:30 kickoff, and it starts the first of 2 7:30 games, and we have, yes, MF, it is your team as well as Michael Bullock. The number 2 Michigan Wolverines at home yet again at the Big House, Michigan Stadium, Ann Arbor, welcoming the Falcons of Bowling Green. And you can find this game over on the Big Ten Network with Corey Provis, Jake Butt, former Michigan tight end. He's returning in the broadcast booth. And on the sidelines, you got the lovely Brooke Fletcher. And Michigan, the biggest favorite of the week, MF, I know you're going to love this number, 40.5-point spread for Michigan at home against Bowling Green. The final game of the Jim Harbaugh suspension, and then next week business picks up because Coach Harbaugh returns.
And just in the nick of time, because that's when Big Ten schedule starts next week as well. They got Rutgers to start their Big Ten conference play. Look, Michigan's been playing status quo. They haven't really done anything spectacular. When they dominate their game early, they pull all their starters out. But when they do have them out, Blake Corum looks very efficient. J.J. McCartney has been absolutely lights out. As a matter of fact, he threw like 260 yards, 3 touchdowns, but it's the quality that he's been doing. The last game for J.J. McCartney, in his last game against UNLV, he didn't really play much in the game, but he was 22 for 25, 278 with 2 touchdowns in the game. So, and then Blake Corum, 15 carries, 80 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So obviously, Michigan is just playing, checkers right now. They haven't even gotten into their final form yet. They're just playing appetizers. They haven't shown their real teeth. They haven't grinned their evil side yet because they haven't need to. So I feel like it's gonna be another one of those games where Michigan will dominate. The starters will come out. The secondary guys will come and start playing, and that will basically just end the night for the Wolverines. So another dominating performance, another easy win for Michigan at the Big House. And that's why I believe, Anthony. I think Michigan will just handle their business, do what they need to do, and then get ready for the Big Ten Conference play. Like I said, they started a week from now when they take on against Rutgers. So I think they're just going to pick up right where they left off and just dominate and win. So, Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF. Where will Jim Harbaugh appear this Saturday? Last week, the suspended Michigan coach worked the chain gang at his son's football game and went to McDonald's for lunch. Meanwhile, the Wolverines have a third comfortable win on the horizon before Coach Harbaugh returns next week. Michigan rolls 42-10 all over Bowling Green. The other 7:30 kickoff will be over on the SEC network, and it will feature the number 17 Ole Miss Rebels hosting the Yellow Jackets of Georgia Tech, Vaught Hemingway Stadium in Oxford, Mississippi. SEC network is where you'll find this game, and on the call for this one will be Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, and Cole Kubelik. And Ole Miss opening up as a 17.5-point favorite. Just give me one moment here while I find it. Okay, here we go. Okay. The efficiency of the Ole Miss rushing attack is a small yet growing topic. After averaging 5.4 yards a carry in 2022, the Rebels are at just 3.4 yards thus far this season. Georgia Tech has ceded 5.6 per carry so far. But will Ole Miss be able to take advantage? Answer, yes. Ole Miss wins 41-24. Ole Miss wins over Georgia Tech. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. Ole Miss is going to win this game, and they just are going to handle it pretty comfortably. So yes, I totally agree with it. And Anthony, let's go into 8 o'clocks.
Yep, we have 3 games left, and two of these next 3 will be 8 o'clock kickoffs. And MF, it's only fitting we lead off with your other favorite team. We know you're a Michigan guy through and through, but we know you have a place in your heart for this team, especially after what they did last week. Oh, here you go, MF. How about this? How does this sound? The now number 4. How about this? Number 4, Texas Longhorns. Back at home at Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin, Texas. And they're going to be welcoming in the alma mater of the one and only Josh Allen, JA-17's alma mater, the Cowboys of Wyoming. You can find this game exclusively on the Longhorn Network. And on the call for this game will be Lowell Galindo, Fozzie Whitaker, and Morgan Uber. Texas opening up as a 29.5-point favorite. MF, Texas, number 4, and rightfully so, after their biggest win, probably since winning the national championship against USC all those years ago with Vince Young. Texas went into Alabama's house, kicked the door down, made themselves at home, and looky here, MF. 2 of your favorite teams are currently in the CFP field. What are the odds?
Yeah, and it's that's a dream come true. Texas, I've been riding high on them for a long time. You know that, Florio, for the last 2-3 years, I've been riding pretty high on Texas. So yeah, and they proved it. You know, they played masterful game. Now they got a game where this is an easy game for them. But next week after that, they got Baylor. Even though Baylor is not what they are, what normally we would consider Baylor to be, always keep a close eye on Baylor. Baylor could surprise some few people. And if Texas do not watch themselves, they could get caught. So and the thing is, if you're Texas now, you got a lot of people watching you. You got the whole nation watching you now, because now everybody's wondering, what are you going to do? What's your encore? When you knock off Alabama, there's always an encore. Can you continue sustaining the momentum that you got from that game week in and week out? I mean, you got Baylor, you got Kansas, then it's Red River. And we already know who that is. We don't even need to say anymore. Just me saying those 2 words says it all. Red River, Cotton Bowl, Dallas, and that team in red from North comes down to your house. Even though this year you are the home team too. So there's no more. You don't even need to say the word. I'm not even going to say that team's name. So just, you already know. I think Texas is ready for that moment. They're not worried about Wyoming. They'll win that game. They'll win that comfortably. But do not get complacent. Do not start getting a big head. Oh, we beat Alabama. That's going to... No. Do not do that. Don't do that, guys. Stay within the game. Stay with the game plan. Focus and attack. You got the right formula. You got the right weapons. I think you have a team that could possibly make the playoffs this year. Like, you got a team that can make the college football playoff. So you just got to handle your business. Keep playing the way you're playing. You're home free. So I got Texas winning. Anthony, like you said, this team has a shot to make the CFP. They just got to win out. And if they do, they're there. They got already a signature win over they got a signature win over Alabama. That is one major signature win. You just got to continue to do what you're doing. Go through the conference play. If you get through that, I'm pretty sure the committee is going to reward Texas with an invitation to the college football playoff. So we'll see. It's yours.
Florida State commanded the hype headlines in week 1, and Texas followed suit in week 2. The road to the college football playoff continues with Wyoming, which has a decent defense, but presumably is not built to compete with the Longhorns offense. Texas wins 45-21. We got 2 games left, and next up, we go from one guy's team to another team that we have a fan that a fan of it is a dear friend of ours. Our dear friend Eric Carrier, his favorite team, the number 13 Oregon Ducks, back at home at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon, hosting the Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii. Pac-12 Network, and you can find it there. And Ted Robinson and Yogi Roth will be on the call. Oregon opening up as a 38.5-point favorite. Oof. So I believe I start this one out. So just give me one moment here as I find it. Okay. After escaping a trip to Texas Tech, Oregon is aiming at 3-0. Hawaii is a curious team. The passing attack sort of atones for a bad rushing game, and the defense might not be terrible again and should hang around for a quarter or two. But as long as the Ducks aren't thinking too much about Colorado next week, Smorgasbord Saturday, they should win handily. Oregon all over Hawaii, 48-21. MF, theme of the show, tune-up, Oregon hosting Hawaii. You could say Hawaii, whatever you want to say, but Oregon is gonna take care of their business. 48-21.
Yep.
And Smorgasbord Saturday strikes again. Oregon against Coach Prime in Colorado. Woo-hoo.
You know what? I'll say that. And as a matter of fact, the final game of the week is Colorado. So we'll get into that in just a minute. Oregon is going to win this game. And the thing is like you said, you don't want to get too complacent. You don't want to get big in the head yet, because this is going to be a big game for you. And oh, by the way, that game is in Eugene, Oregon. Oregon's going to be the home team going into that big showdown next week. So obviously, Oregon is going to win this game. And like you said, the next game is that game against Colorado. We'll wait and see how it plays out. But right now, if you're Oregon, you just got to handle your business. And the thing is, you're going to want to be a little more cleaner, a little more crisper than you were about a week ago. Last week, you won, but you barely escaped with the victory. Texas Tech gave them everything and then some. Gave them a lot of fits after winning that game, but they were able to figure it out. They did nail it down at the end. But my goodness, man, they actually needed a big comeback in the second half, because they were trailing at one point, and they outscored them 20-3 in the fourth quarter to win the game. So you want to be more consistent all 4 quarters. You cannot live dangerously like you did against Texas Tech, or else who knows. But yeah, obviously you don't want to look too far ahead. I know Colorado is very enticing, but if you're you got to handle your business. So yeah, I do believe they'll win that game. Anthony, final game of the week.
Final game of the week. It's a 10 o'clock kickoff over on ESPN, and it features Oregon's opponent next week, the number 18 Colorado Buffaloes, back at home at Folsom Field in Boulder, hosting their cross-state rivals, the Rams of Colorado State. Mark Jones, Louis Riddick, Quint Kessenich on the call. Colorado opening up as a 23.5-point favorite. And MF, we wrap it up. Of course, the theme of the show, tune-ups. We talked about Oregon tuning up with Hawaii, Colorado with a tune-up against Colorado State before Oregon and Colorado with that huge showdown, Smorgasbord Saturday style.
Yeah, and the thing is like you said, with everything that was going on, Colorado should win this game pretty handily. And on top of that, there's been a little bit of some war of the words between the coaches, and it's really ramped up, especially after today. Colorado State's coach took a shot at Deion Sanders, at the coach of Colorado, And you don't think that bulletin board material got to Dion? No. There was a little bit of some bad blood. There was some comments that were made, and he went after the coach for basically, wearing a hat, wearing shades during his press conference, and he kind of took a shot at him for that, and Dion shot back in kind with this. I know a lot of people are like, oh, but they're getting so much hype, so much love. ESPN First Take is going to be in Colorado tomorrow. I think they said that. I think college game. Well, I don't know if college game day is
game day will be there.
Yeah, game day is going to be there. The Pat McAfee show is going to be in Colorado tomorrow. So you're getting all this love, all this attention to Colorado, and a lot of people are thinking, is this really worth it? Is this deserving? Is this truly what they want? Look, what Colorado's done up to this point has been remarkable. I mean, they took out TCU, had no problem with Nebraska, and now you got Colorado State. Yes, that should be an easy win, but then you got Oregon. That is going to be the litmus test for Deion Sanders and his crew, because now you're going to get into the Pac-12 conference.
The meat,
the bone. And there's a lot of meat there, man. You're talking, that's like a New York strip steak type meat that you're gonna have to sink your teeth into against next week. That's gonna be a fight. We got a fight on our hands, and I can't wait, man. This is gonna be wild. So nothing more to say. Colorado wins. Anthony, it's yours.
Whether the Colorado hype train can power through the Pac-12 is a fair question, but a 3-0 start is on the way. While 2 weeks of preparation could help Colorado State be a thorn in the first quarter, Colorado's talent on offense will eventually overwhelm the in-state rivals. 45-17, Colorado over Colorado State. All right, MF, are you ready to set the table for Smorgasbord Saturday next week? Get ready. You ready for this? Let's go. Next week, College Football Thursday, Week 4. We're calling it Smorgasbord Saturday. Listen to these matchups in no particular order. Are you ready, MF? Listen to this. Florida State versus Clemson. Oklahoma versus Cincinnati. Colorado and Oregon. Ole Miss and Alabama. UCLA and Utah. Oregon State and Washington State. Iowa and Penn State. And then the main event, on top of all of that, Ohio State and Notre Dame. If that's not a Smorgasbord Saturday, tell me what is.
This is why, and I know a lot of people start talking about what, when you hear those matchups, when you hear those battles, this is why we love college football. You don't get these type of battles this early in the year. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. These are battles that you would see at bowl games. Like, these are bowl game level matches. Notre Dame, Ohio State, that's a college football playoff battle that you probably see. So, yeah, say for what it's worth, sink your teeth into that, folks. Next week is going to be a hell of a week, no doubt. Floyo, back to you.
Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait, man. All right. So with that will put the bow on this edition of this Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in, as always. We'll be back with you tomorrow night, right back here on the Tone 25 at 10:30 tomorrow night for the Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday. And we'll talk about the Viking-Eagle game, and we'll preview the rest of the slate of Week 2. Saturday night, same time, MF will have it, Braves Fan 95, Cerebral Smack Talk, Friday night SmackDown, and AEW Collision. And then Monday night, we do it all again. Monday Night Raw, Ridiculously Raw, right here on the Tone 25. We talk about Monday Night Raw and the return of my normal Tony's Take. Impact Wrestling. Oh, by the way, Impact Wrestling episode 1000. Wow. Too big for 1 week. It's a 2-week affair. I'll talk about Week 1 as well as NXT Level Up Monday night. Wednesday, we have Wednesday Night Madness with good old MF Michael Fletcher, as we're going to have NXT and AEW Dynamite and a preview of next Thursday night's football game on Amazon Prime Video, the New York Giants and the San Francisco 49ers. And then next week, of course, week 4, College Football Thursday, our first big College Football Thursday broadcast, Smorgasbord Saturday. Enough said. So that's it. So until tomorrow night, for the Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, it's Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, and always and forever the First Lady, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Fortune Force style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday, and until tomorrow night, for the Week 2 edition of TXN Sports World NFL Friday, you're watching the Week 3 edition of TXN Sports World College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long, and bye, everybody. Bye.